So it's always an exciting day for me when I get to cover an Acqua Di Gio fragrance. You know, it's a fragrance line that's been out since the 90s. Very popular. Lots and lots of flankers at this point. And we finally, this year, got an eau de parfum. It's kind of going to be the year of eau de parfums. It's kind of the trend that it's moving towards this year. A lot of brands are going back and looking at some iconic fragrance lines that they somehow haven't released an eau de parfum for yet. Now they're deciding to go ahead and do it. Of course, with Acqua Di Gio, we have some best-selling hits like Profumo, Profondo, Essenza. Those of you OGs who remember Essenza back in the day, that was around when I was first starting out here on the channel. That one was really buzzing well. That one did get discontinued though. Of course, there's Absolute Instinct, Profondo Lights, Profumo Special Blend. They've had tons of flankers. And so when I saw Acqua Di Gio Eau de Parfum announced, I was so pumped up for it. A lot of people are actually thinking that this one was Photoshop and that it was fake, which why would it be fake? They've already done so many flankers at this point. They don't have an Eau de Parfum yet. It kind of only makes sense. And so I've already done a first impressions. If you want to see my initial live reactions of smelling this one for the first time, you can go check that one out. I've had plenty of time to test it and wear it, especially with this beautiful spring weather. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately, I think it's worth picking up. It is available now. I made a post on my community tab. A lot of you guys went through and picked it up already. If you want to go ahead and grab this one, I will link it down below so you can pick it up at full retail, but, you know, let's be real, discounted price. Maybe you'll be able to save 10 bucks by the time it actually hits. So let's go ahead and start off with how this fragrance smells. Now, when you first spray it on, you immediately recognize that it's an Acqua Di Gio fragrance. It doesn't smell exactly like the original by any stretch of the terms, but it does have some of that DNA. And what I love so much about this one is that it kind of grabs bits and pieces from some of the other popular and successful Acqua Di Gio fragrances. So I'll go ahead and break that down. You know, it opens up fresh, kind of with the C notes, that sort of thing. But you get a good dose of aromatics starting to come through right away. You know, some lavender, some clary sage, that sort of thing. And so initially when I saw this one released, I saw the picture, I saw the note breakdown, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, I wonder if it's going to go in the direction that Essenza went in. You know, here's Essenza right here. Now this one here, fantastic flanker. Love this stuff. Very, very unfortunate that they discontinued, and I wish I didn't decant out so much of this bottle because that's a little bit sad. Hindsight's 2020 though. And this one goes very much in an aromatic direction. You know, it's a much more mature take on the original DNA. I think they really had something good going here with Essenza. A lot of people would agree as well. They discontinued this one, made room for Profumo to really come in and dominate the market. It's kind of what happened there. So for me, I do draw a similarity to some extent with Essenza. Bits and pieces of it. The aromatics of Essenza are kind of utilized almost in the Eau de Parfum, you know, kind of giving it that more mature smell and slightly an earthy smell, which I really, really dig out of the Eau de Parfum. And the next fragrance from the line that it kind of gets compared to me, would be the mighty Profondo. This is kind of the newest star of the show, right? This came out not too long after Profumo. Well, I guess it was a few years after Profumo, right? And this one really kind of started to dominate the market. It was almost right as Profumo started to lose a little bit of grip in terms of its popularity and its hype. Then Armani was like, all right, we got to do something about this. They dropped a bomb on us with Profondo, and it's done very well also. Now, what I get out of a similarity here between the two is the mineral notes. Okay, they did use that note here in the note breakdown. It is there, and you actually smell it. It's listed as a base note, but I pick up on it right off the bat. This mineral water, kind of oceanic rocks type of smell, very photorealistic. Definitely goes in the direction of a more realistic aquatic scent, and kind of sharing bits and pieces from this. Also using the orange as well. Nice creamy mandarin orange opening, kind of shares that similar thing. And believe it or not, it also ties back a little bit to Profumo for me. Just one of my absolute all-time favorites. Now, it doesn't have the incense, but what it does have is the patchouli. So if you look at the base of the EDP, it's got the patchouli in there. Now, it's not quite as strong as in Profumo, and it's not nearly as smoky, that sort of thing. But in the dry down of the Eau de Parfum, you do pick up on that, giving it, again, a little bit of an earthiness. So that would kind of be lending to that. And maybe just a slight slight smokiness, a little bit of a mysterious type of smell coming from it, primarily the patchouli, and I think kind of some of the, taking some of the focus from Profumo and putting it there in the base. Now, it may sound like, okay, is this just a mashup of those fragrances and that's it? Not really, because it still has its own unique thing going on here. We'll take a look at the note breakdown fully. I've kind of shared bits and pieces of it, but we've got C notes and orange up top. We have clary sage, lavender, and geranium in the mid, so very aromatic heavy in the mid. And then we have mineral notes, vetiver, and patchouli in the base. And it's a great note breakdown. It really kind of gives you an idea. And when you reference all of the other Acqua Di Gio fragrances, at least the ones I mentioned, you see the comparison there. Now, it's important that you also smell the fragrance, right? I don't want people to go out there and start comparing this one to this and that when they haven't even smelled the fragrances yet. But once you actually smell it, right, and you kind of get reminded of these other nuances, and then you take a look at the note breakdown, it all starts to make sense, It's Acqua Di Gio Eau de Toilette with a mature take, with an aromatic take. They're kind of backing off all of the citrus and all of the aquatic notes and kind of bringing it back a little bit. You still do get them, but I mean, the original is very focused on citrus and aquatics, and they're rolling that back. They're making room for the aromatic mid to come through. They're making room for a little bit of an earthy, smoky patchouli in the base, and they're making room for this mineral, oceanic rocks type of smell that you get as well in this one. I mean, it smells fantastic. The opening is great with that orange. The dry down is amazing with the mineral notes, patchouli, vetiver, lavender, clary sage aromatics. It smells amazing. There's bits and pieces of like a green tint to it as well from the geranium, which can kind of give off a minty impression. This has it going on. So I think it's a really well-timed release in the fact that if you wore Acqua Di Gio back when you were in high school, again, the original came out in the 90s. If you wore that back then, and a lot of people did, I see all the time, people still wear Acqua Di Gio. It's still a bestseller. Believe it or not, people are under the impression that every fragrance like Acqua Di Gio and Bleu de Chanel, they're obsolete now and no one likes them. They're still selling them by the truckload. Acqua Di Gio is still one of the #1 bestsellers on discounters. It's one of the #1 bestsellers for the men's fragrance line of Armani. This is a true story here. You can look this stuff up. It's real, right? This still sells bucket loads, the original. And so if you wore that back in the day, and by now, maybe you're a good amount older, maybe you're in your 30s, maybe pushing 40s, depending on when you started wearing it, maybe you're a bit younger, right? Now you're growing up. Now you're probably going to be gravitating towards something more mature as you are well established. You have a family, you have an invested career that you're into, that sort of thing. You want something more mature. That's the EDP. Now, don't get me wrong. The original EDT, it's timeless. It could work for any guy, whether you're 14 years old or you're 74 years old. It does not matter. But I think when you boil it down, the original does have a little bit of a casual, playful smell about it. Very summertime, fun, fresh oriented. The EDP has this down-to-business, masculine kind of confidence about it that smells amazing. It's like they're taking that original DNA, they're updating it, they're making it a bit more mature and a bit more modern. Again, not that the EDT is not modern, it's timeless, but they're kind of introducing some modern aroma chemicals, some modern notes into the new version here. So I think that's kind of where their direction was with this one. After all, there's a big 20-year gap here between the two, and so there's definitely some room for them to tweak some things and bring it up to today's standard. So, of course, it's an eau de parfum concentration. Longevity on my skin, I've been pretty lucky with it. I've been having really good luck with the performance here being around 7 to 8 hours. So, in terms of Profumo, okay, not as strong. This is a parfum, and I've always gotten amazing 8, 9+ hour performance from Profumo, so we're not on that level with the EDP. And in terms of Profondo, it's kind of hanging out around the similar area. It's going to perform differently in high summer heat. Profondo is kind of one of my main go-tos for really hot summer days. I would like to try the EDP during that time. Not quite there yet. Again, somewhere around in the 7 to 8, depending on where it's at. Depending on the weather, from where you get indoors, outdoors, or whatever. It's going to depend on your skin as well. And in terms of Essenza, even though it's discontinued, I'll kind of give you a reference point. Kind of hangs out around the same as this one as well. It was never a beast mode, but also never a quiet scent either, kind of right there in the middle. So that's where performance is on the EDP. Today, people are so harsh on performance, and they expect 12 to 15 hours out of aquatics and out of cheapies and out of literally every single fragrance that people try. They want beast mode. It's just not realistic. And I know there's going to be a million comments, oh, it doesn't perform good for the price. It's all relative. You know, for me, 7 hours on average is not bad. I'll take that any day, right? That's pretty solid. I can reapply. I can apply something different later on. You know, I could layer it with Profumo and wear that into the evening or whatever. So there's different ways you can take a look at it here. But ultimately, I think, all things considered, it's pretty respectable. Quality is also fantastic, very smooth from opening to dry down. Don't have anything to say about that other than it's up to standards with the rest of the line. Actually, I like the opening and the quality of this one better than the opening of Profumo. And I've been vocal about this a lot. Profumo kind of has this grassy and somewhat sharp opening. I've noticed it. A lot of other people have mentioned it. Profumo shines in the dry down, plain and simple. I could almost do without the opening of Profumo, and that's just me being honest. People say I'm being paid by Armani, the giant multi-million-dollar brand. They think I'm being paid by them to say this is good. Guess what? The opening of Profumo, it kind of sucks, and they wouldn't be paying me to say that. There's your proof right there. Profumo opening, not so good. The EDP opening, though, is very nice. More kind of on par with Profondo. It's a bit more smooth. The orange helps to smooth it out. Aromatic right off the bat. I really like the opening and love the dry down of the EDP. So that's going to do it for me, guys. That's my review on Acqua Di Gio Eau de Parfum. So happy. Love it so much. Man, it makes me feel good. And it's got me fired up for summer. I said this in my first impressions, but I'm going to really get my use out of this one here this summertime. It launched in the perfect time here in springtime, in the US anyway, where you can now get it officially right in time for people to start getting it for summertime. Oh man, this here is going to be on the boat with me. It's going to be out on the water. It's going to be at all of these summer bonfires and outdoor events and everything. You know what? Acqua Di Gio Eau de Parfum, this right here, this is going to be it's going to be something. So hopefully you guys like it as well. Hopefully you're able to try it out. We'll link it down below. And as always, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one here as I collect the conglomeration of bottles that this one is similar to. Look at these beauties, right? It's kind of like a mashup of all these and still has its own thing going on. To me, that's a win-win. That's pretty cool. Acqua Di Gio Eau de Parfum, it gets my vote. Could go down as being one of the best releases of the year. And, you know, if they ever decided to discontinue Profumo, this could probably kind of somewhat do what Profumo does, you know. It's kind of where it's at. Mixing in mineral notes, aromatics from Essenza. It is what it is. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.